Welcome, everyone. This video shows a first round of two-player competitive game at Fall of Lumen. The aim of this video is to show the game flow. Actions performed by players aren't selected as the best possible ones in terms of strategy and optimizations of skills and resources. Primus is the starting player. Primus' starting hand is Lumen's Eye, Cantrip, Market Day, Vengeful Spirit, Demon's Touch, and Ethon. Primus's first turn main action is to play Demon's Touch. Spend 1 deception to scrap a card from his discard pile. Primus scraps a Lumen's Eye from the discard pile. Scrapping a card triggers Svipdagger's ability. Primus can convert 1 deception into 1 wizardry, and so he does. Tip: scrapped Lumen's Eye cards are returned to the Lumen board. It's the end of Primus's first turn of the first round, and it's time for Secondus to play her first turn. Secondus' starting hand is Market Day, Arbitrator, Lumen's Eye, Cantrip, and Survivor. Secondus' first turn main action is to play Arbitrator. Spend 1 deception to draw 1 card and perform a trade. She draws Pathfinder from the top of her deck. The trade icon triggers Helen's ability, granting her 1 gold, and then she performs a trade by spending 3 gold to buy a mithril. It's the end of Secondus's first turn of the first round, and it's time for Primus to play his second turn of the round. Primus plays Vengeful Spirit, remove it from the game, and take a bounty to gain 1 void and 1 deception. Vengeful Spirit cost is to remove itself from the game, which triggers Svipdagger's ability, allowing him to convert the deception he just gained into 1 wizardry. Secondus' instant action is to discard Pathfinder from her hand to gain 1 fight. Tip: instant actions can be performed at any moment of the game. Secondus' main action is to perform Ruthem's Gather. Spend 1 fight to gain 1 mithril. Primus plays Market Day. Gain 1 gold and perform a trade, which is selling 1 Genasi for 5 gold, for a total gain of 6 gold. Secondus spends 3 mithril to acquire Archer Armband from the Rothem Trinket Market, and reveals a new trinket on the market, Mech Chicken. Primus spends 1 gold to buy a ride, and travels from Era to Nimali. Secondus plays Survivor. She travels from Rothem to Era and discards a bounty. Survivor is a flash action, so it does not count as the main action of the turn. Secondus discards her chest to take its income, 3 deception. Tip: discarding a chest for its income is always a flash action. As her main action of the turn, Secondus activates her Archer Armbands to convert 2 deception into 2 fight. Tip: when you activate a trinket or a follower, exhaust it and rotate it by 90 degrees. Primus spends 2 wizardry and takes a bounty to capture a patrol in his region, and gains 1 chest. This is the 3rd bounty for Primus, so he must return all 3 bounties to the Lumen board and add a Lumen's Eye card to his discard pile. Tip: each time you capture a patrol by any means, gain 1 chest. Secondus spends 1 void, 2 fight, and 1 deception, adds 1 Lumen's Eye card to her discard, and solves the Hammer's Guards challenge, rescuing 1 keeper from the prison. Tip: any void can be converted into any other skill as an instant action, and as many times as you want, so you can directly spend a void as if it was any other skill. The second level challenge of the pile is Reveal: Summer Snow. Primus spends 3 gold to buy Underground River from the trait market, and reveals a new trait on the market, Peregrine Falcon. Secondus completes her mission, Rebel. She adds a Lumen's Eye card to her discard and captures a patrol from her region. As usual, she gains a chest. Primus spends 1 gold to travel from Nimali to Era. Secondus spends 2 gold to activate her faction, F. Joldor. Thanks to the archer armbands that grant a warrior icon, she is able to activate also the second step of her faction, a trade. The trade icon triggers Helen's ability, so she gains 1 gold. She performs the trade by selling a patrol for 4 gold. Then, she gains a chest. Tip: when activating your faction, place your flag on it to show that they are exhausted and cannot be used again for the rest of the round. Tip: incomes are written from left to right as the best way to process them. Anyway, you can process them in any order you want. Primus discards a Lumen's Eye to instantly gain 1 deception, then plays Underground River. Spend 1 deception to gain 1 Genasi. Secondus collects her chest flash action to perform a ritual and a teleport. With the ritual, she gains 1 mana. With the teleport, she moves to Telurgion. She instantly discards the last 3 cards in her hand: Lumen's Eye, Cantrip, and Market Day, to collect their skills: 1 Deception, 1 Wit, and 1 Wizardry. As an instant action, she converts all her skills into Deception. As she is in the region with Lumen, her main action is infiltrating an agent in the Informer District. She returns the keeper she had saved before to the supply, spends 3 Deception, takes a bounty, Informer District additional cost, and places one of her blue agents in the Informer middle window. She gains 1 Deception and performs a scry, allowing her to manipulate her deck's top 2 cards. She has only 1 card in the deck, a Lumen's Eye, which she decides to send into the discard pile. From now on, that agent will grant her a scry and 1 deception at the beginning of each round. Tip: in early mid-game, try to infiltrate agents in the middle windows, as they grant a recurring income at the start of each round. Primus completes his mission, Healer. Spend 1 Genasi to gain 1 gold and scrap a card from his discard, gaining that card's skills. He scraps a Lumen's Eye, gaining 1 deception, as Vipgard's ability is triggered, so the deception is converted into 1 wizardry. Secondus spends 2 gold to travel from Telurgion to Gon March. Primus plays Ethon, which is a flash card. He gains 1 dark matter and scraps a card from his discard, gaining that card's skills. He scraps another Lumen's Eye and gains 1 deception, which is converted into 1 wizardry. As the main action of the turn, Primus spends 1 void and 2 wizardry and takes a bounty to solve Summer Snow. He gains 1 Genasi and acquires Shadow Fiend for free from the spell market. A new spell is revealed, Frozen. The 3rd level challenge is revealed, which is Solar. Secondus passes. The pass procedure is: check if you are in the Lumen region. If so, add 1 Lumen's Eye card to your discard pile. If you are not in the Lumen's region, check if there is at least a patrol in your region. If so, take a bounty. Restores all her followers and trinkets, archer armbands. Secondus is in a safe region without Lumen or patrol, so nothing happens to her. Choose one of the available bonuses and place your flag over it. Secondus chooses to gain 2 gold. She will collect them at the beginning of the next round. Convert all unused skills into 1 gold each. Secondus has left 1 deception, so it converts into 1 gold. Shuffle your discards and place them at the bottom of your deck. Secondus' deck is empty, so she shuffles her discards and places them in the reserved slot for the deck. End of Secondus' pass phase. She now waits for Primus to complete his turn, and then the play will move to the first Lumen phase of the game. From now on, Primus is the only active player, so he can perform as many actions as he wants. Primus plays Shadowfiend, pays 1 dark matter to gain 1 void and 4 deception. Primus collects his chest, 3 deception, and spends 1 void, 7 deception, and takes a bounty to solve the Solar challenge. Solar is a 3rd level challenge. 3rd level challenges grant all the same reward. Secretly look at the inner worlds pile, choose 1, place it on the challenge site, populate it with a number of keepers according to the player count, save 1 keeper from there, and collect the inner world bonus. Primus secretly looks at the 4 inner world cards: Limbo, Great Desert, Salt Sea, and Underworld. He picks the Great Desert and returns the other 3 inner world cards face down on the reserved slot on the Lumen board. It places Great Desert on the challenge site once defended by the Solar and places 4 keepers on it, since this is a 2-player game. Then, Primus rescues a keeper from it and gains 1 chest, Great Desert bonus. Primus collects his chest, 2 mana, and activates his faction, the Fisher Widows. He doesn't have enough spec to unlock the 2nd step of the faction, so he only gets to perform a ritual, which translates into gaining 1 mana. Primus spends 3 mana to acquire Opening Line from the spell market. A new spell is revealed, Howlin. Primus mills the top 2 cards of his deck into his discard pile to play Opening Line. He gets a ritual, which grants him 1 mana, and the drawing of a card is wasted since he has no more cards in the deck. Tip: discards return at the bottom of your deck only when you pass. Primus plays Cantrip to perform another ritual, with which he converts 1 mana into 1 dark matter. Primus exhausts Althea rotated by 90 degrees to gain 1 wizardry instant action. Then, he decided to pass. Primus performs the pass procedure. He is in a free zone, without Lumen or patrols, so he doesn't get any Lumen's Eye or bounty. Restores Althea. As a pass bonus, he decides to lock the unused wizardry. He places the wizardry token on the lock slot with his flag above. He has no unused skills, so he skips the conversion of them into gold. He shuffles his discards and places them at the bottom of his deck, which is empty. So, place them in the reserved slot. Tip: during the passing procedure, you always shuffle your discards and place them at the bottom of your deck, whether or not your deck is empty. All players have passed, so the game moves to the Lumen phase. The most experienced player reveals the top event of the Lumen deck Nimali and applies it. Lumen moves to Nimali, removes the visible cards of the trait market, and reveals new traits. Do the same with the follower market. Adds 2 patrols to Araya and other 2 to Tellerhian. Adds a Lumen agent to the right window of the warrior district. End of the Lumen phase. The 2nd round begins with the income phase. All players can carry out the income phase simultaneously. Each player draws cards from the top of their deck until they have 5 cards in hand. Each player collects their hero's skills. Primus gets 2 deception from Esthip Dagger, while Secondus gains 1 void and 1 deception from Helen. Assign the new player based on the flags. Primus's flag is the highest one, so Primus keeps the seat of the first and remains the first player. Each player collects their flag and bonus. Primus gets back his unused wizardry, while Secondus gains 2 gold. Each player collects income from Lumen central windows where they have infiltrated an agent. Only Secondus has an agent in a central window, so she gains 1 deception and performs a scry. The top 2 cards of her deck are a Lumen's Eye and Survivor. She decides to discard the Lumen's Eye and keeps Survivor on top. Tip: you get an income from each agent you have in a central window. With 2 agents on that window, Secondus would gain 2 deception and 2 scry. When all players have completed the income phase, The play moves to the round phase where players take turns starting from the first player, Primus, and proceeding clockwise. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Two-Eyed Games hopes you enjoy playing Fall of Lumen.